Hi, I'm Barry Sahazian, and this is an accelerated refresher course on essential bass theory. I picked out the most important parts that you can understand very quickly and that will help you understand keys, chords, and a lot of other benefits. Let's get started. The foundation, it begins with tetrachords. This explains why sharps and flats happen. It's sort of like a ruler in mathematics, but it has a little different shape. There's not all even spaces between each element. As you can see, you have a whole step, and a half step. Then you have a whole step in between these two tetrachords, and you have whole, whole, and half again. As you see, there is a lower tetrachord and upper tetrachord. There's a reason for that. The lower tetrachord is for flats, and the upper tetrachord is for sharps. This is the way a tetrachord looks on a guitar. As you can see, whole step, half step, and then the next string over up a whole step, that is your whole step in between, does the same thing, whole step, half step. Let's take a look at our first flat key, and that would be the key of F, and you can see there is one flat in the key of F. That flat is B flat. Right here is the order of the flats, and you will see B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, and F flat. Now let's take a look at the keyboard. So you have the lower tetrachord and you have the upper tetrachord. We're going to be working with the lower tetrachord because that's where the flats occur. And you will notice it happens on the 4th degree of the scale. All flats are added to each new key, progressing in the cycle of fourths on the 4th degree of the scale. In this case, we're in the key of F, F, G, A, B flat. Also, I'd like you to notice we have a black key right here on the lower tetrachord, and that is our one flat, our first flat in the key of F. Here's another way of looking at it. This is a graph. We have all 7 flat keys. We've already done F, as you know, and you have one flat, B flat. Let's try B flat and see what happens. Okay, B flat, we have 2 flats, B flat and E flat. How you identify the key is to go to the next to the last flat. So you have B flat will be the first flat, and E flat will be the second flat. So the next to the last flat, of course, is going to be B flat. That's your key. Let's try another key. Let's skip over one and go to A flat. We don't want to make it too simple. We have A flat. It has 4 flats. You can see the number 4 there. We have B flat, first flat, E flat, second flat, A flat, third flat, and D flat. So your next to the last flat is an A flat. That would be your key. Here's an important thing you must learn if you want to make your life easier. You must memorize the flats and the sharps in the sequence that they happen. It will help you in a variety of ways. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, and F flat. This gets you acquainted with how keys travel in fourths, of course, and then when you go into your sharp keys, you do the same thing. Now we're in the key of G, and this is the circle of fifths. We have one sharp in the key of G, and that will be an F sharp, as you can see. The sharp keys are added in fifths. You have G, fifth away is D, fifth away is A, fifth away is E, fifth from there is B, fifth from there is F sharp, and the last sharp is a C sharp. That gives you 7 sharp keys, all of the sharps. Right here we have the order of the sharps, and this is the first sharp, which is in the key of G. So you have from F sharp to the second sharp is a fifth away. From C sharp to G sharp is also a fifth, and then D sharp, another fifth, A sharp, another fifth away, and E sharp, another fifth away, and B sharp. That's your final sharp. That's 7 sharps. Now we're looking at the keyboard view with the 2 tetrachords, the lower tetrachord and the upper tetrachord. Now we have one sharp in the key of G, and that will be an F sharp, and that sharp occurs on the 7th degree of the scale, or the 3rd note on the upper tetrachord. So you have a black key, one sharp in the key of G, and it happens right there on the F sharp on the 7th degree, and you can see that on the keyboard. Right here is the graph view of all 7 keys, and you can see clearly, a little easier to see than the circle, how the sharps are added. So we start with the key of G we've already looked at in the other views, and we have 1 sharp and is an F sharp. So that's good. Now we go over to here and we have the key of D, and it has 2 sharps, an F sharp and a C sharp. Key of A, 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Now the reason we're looking at this so closely is when you get into key signatures, you're gonna want to know when you see 3 sharps, 4 sharps, what key am I in? 5 sharps, what key are you in? Well, let me see. We don't want that. We want a way to determine what key you're in easily. If you see 3 sharps, for instance, you'll know what key you're in by adding a half step to the last sharp. Let me illustrate. Okay, we have A, right? And the last sharp would be the G sharp. G sharp plus a half step would make it an A. Okay, let's take a look at the key of B. That's a tough one. 5 sharps. For best results, you should know 5 sharps immediately. That's a key of B, just by the number of sharps, and you will get there. But until you do, you have to kind of use this shortcut by adding a half step to the last sharp. If you get stuck, then you'll know where you are. As you progress and you get more familiar with this, you'll be able to understand what key you're in just simply by the number of sharps. Let's test out our new knowledge. We have right here, we have a bunch of sharps. So let's take a look at what we have. We have an F sharp, we have a C sharp, we have a G sharp, and we have a D sharp. 4 sharps. Now the last sharp, raise it a half step, and that will be the key you're in. From a D sharp, you raise it up, you have an E. This is the key of E. 4 sharps and the key of E. The last sharp plus a half step tells us what key we're in. Now here's a piece of music, it has 5 flats. So let's figure out what key we're in. If you don't know what key has 5 flats, we're going to have to figure it out with our formula. So we have a B flat, an E flat, an A flat, a D flat, and a G flat. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. So we need to find the next to the last flat. That would be D flat. We're in the key of D flat. D flat has 5 flats. Let's talk a little about chords. So right here we have a C scale. Now if you take every other note in a C scale, or any scale for that matter, that's how your chords are built. 1, 3, 5. And this would be a triad. 3 notes out of the scale, every other note. Major chords are represented by Roman numerals. 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, etc. Sometimes the minor chords will be represented with lowercase Roman numerals, like this. The 3 major chords are found on the 1st degree of the scale, the 1 chord, 4th degree of the scale, the 4 chord, and the 5th degree of the scale, 5 chord. The minor chords are found on the 2nd degree of the scale, that will be the 2 chord, the 3rd degree of the scale, that will be the 3 chord, and the 6th degree of the scale, the 6 chord. It's important to know these things because communication between musicians will most often be, when talking about chords, 1-6-2-5 progression, 2-5-1 progression, 1-4-5 progression. Now we're going to add 1 more note to each of these chords, and that will be the 7th. Each of the chords will have variations on the 7th, minor or major, as well as variations on the 3rd, major and minor. We're looking at C major 7, and that would be the 1 chord. And then on the 4 chord, the same thing happens with the 7th. It is a major 7th. On the 5 chord, we have something different. This is the dominant 7th chord. It's flatted. On the minor 7ths, they're all the same. The 2 minor 7, the 3 minor 7, and the 6 minor 7, all the same. We have minor 7th here on 2, minor 7th here on 3, minor 7th on 6. The last one is the diminished 7th. Now the diminished 7th, it gets a little complicated, and I reserved that for another video, and I have already done a video on diminished chords you can look at. For the purpose of today's lesson, I am just going to include the minor 7ths and the major 7th. If you like this video, please subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of more videos yet to come, like and comment.